Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Senator.
The end of a long morning for you. In January of 21, more than a year ago, we passed the beneficial ownership legislation that Senator Crapo, among others, was a champion of, and that passed with strong bipartisan support. A lot of time has gone by, and we're still waiting for the rule to come out of Treasury. I just helped get you $22 million in additional FinCEN funding to help accomplish that. In the meantime, because there is no rule, Tax Justice has just put America at the top of the Financial Secrecy Index, #1. This is not an index on which we want to be #1. Can you tell us anything about when you're going to be done with the beneficial ownership rule? It's been over a year.
Well, last December, FinCEN did publish a notice of proposed rulemaking to implement the beneficial ownership reporting requirements, and that's the first rulemaking. The second will govern access to the beneficial ownership information system, and that will be published certainly this year. So all I can tell you is that so we appreciate the extra funding to fully implement this. We will in the fiscal 23. We need full funding for building of this database, but we appreciate the funds that were in the Ukraine supplemental. Effective implementation of the Corporate Transparency Act is really a top priority and is getting our full attention.
Well, if you could instruct your people to pick up the pace, I think that would be helpful. It's been quite a while since the law passed. It's been a year since the regs were supposed to be accomplished. There are 3 different rules that are necessary to implement it. Only one has even been proposed. So there's a lot of room for improvement in the rulemaking process, and I hope you'll see to that. The other topic that we talk about often, you and I, is the problem of the 501Cs. You have indicated that the political dark money that they facilitate is a problem for our country, and you have said that you will give it serious review and serious study. And I just want to flag it for you because, again, I'm not seeing either the serious review or the serious study. The problems are quite specific, and I want to flag them for you. One is you have a C3 and a C4 that are indistinguishable. They have the same office, they have the same staff, they have the same board, they have the same, chief executive, and it's just a fanciful distinction that, in my world, you call that piercing the corporate veil. This is a corporate veil you could pierce with a banana. This is not legit. And to look into that, I think, is well worth doing. The other issue has to do with the so-called 50% limit. The 50% limit is ignored by circles of affiliated nominal corporations, so that if somebody makes a donation to one, they can then spend 50% of it on politics and put the other 50% to an affiliated organization, which then spends 50% of it on politics and puts the remainder to another affiliated organization. If you have just 4 of those organizations working in concert together, you're over 90% of the donor's money going for political advertising. And that's not what the 50% rule intended either. And I think that the IRS is simply not looking at these essentially phony setups that are allowing these anonymous folks to get around both the letter and the intent of the law. So again, please, serious review and serious study, I think, are in order. What we have had in the meantime has been a completely false narrative blown up by your own Inspector General that this was all a wicked effort to target conservatives. That narrative got legs because an enormous propaganda effort was done to push it, but it was debunked by the Inspector General. But we're still living with the aftermath of that, and nobody is telling the truth in the Treasury Department about what really happened, about how the system is being gamed by indistinguishable 501c3s and 501c4s, and by these coordinated efforts to spin the money through affiliated groups so that you can end up spending it all on politics instead of the nominal 50%. So if you could please look at that, I would be grateful.
I thank my colleague.
Could she just quickly answer that?
Oh, of course.
Before I go?
Please.
I know my time's up, but
No,
if she could answer that
Madam
briefly,
Secretary, please.
I understand the importance of this issue and agree with you that we absolutely need to get dark money out of politics. We'll work with you to try to do that.
Great. Look, if we can look at those specific things, that would be helpful.